God releases more of his power and presence according to the measure of our hunger for him. Yeah, God's gonna give more of his power and presence to one who hunger after him, who are starving for his presence. And let me just say, there are starving people out there waiting for their mouths to be fed. God is like a mama bird, we're like the baby birds. We're there squawking for more of his presence, and he feeds it to us, definitely. That's if you're starving for it. The problem is, in a lot of Christianity I see, there are people that are not starving for it. They think, I'm good without it. I'm good with minimal. I'm fine being lukewarm and everything else. And they wonder why they're not getting anywhere in life, why they still have the same struggles, why they can't overcome them. Not that we won't ever have struggles regardless, but, why they're having so many other difficulties, why their marriage is falling apart, why their kids won't listen to them, why they're having financial troubles, so many other things, and they wonder why, and that's because the Lord's presence is not shining brightly enough in their lives, and that's problematic. We should hunger more and more for his power and his presence. We should be like, give us more, God, give us more, constantly. And I get it, yeah, that's another thing that also comes with spiritual growth. We will hunger even more so for him, definitely. The measure of the hunger. How starving for his presence are you? That's what you should ask yourself. How starving for his power are you? Sometimes you have to get desperate. Sometimes, you have to be pushed to like the end of the road there. God has to do that so that you get more hungry for his presence or his power. Sometimes you have to get desperate, like we've talked about, for your deliverance from things. Like I said, that's a problem because that's another thing. People are not desperate enough, they're just sitting going about and, yeah, things are going south for them or they're about to because God is not evident in their lives nearly enough. They're lukewarm. They have minimal of his presence, if any at all. And another thing, that's why these churches that preach truth, are starting to get more viewers on their online services, in their in-person services. They are hungry. People are starving for the Word of God. They're sick of being told these Joel Osteen-like sermons, these Tickle Me Elmo, Gummy Bear, Mamby-Pamby sermons that don't do anything but tickle your ears, but in the long run don't do anything to help you. They just keep you furthermore getting into trouble and everything else. People are starving. Now here's the thing. You also should nourish yourself with the Word of God. Don't just do it every Sunday. Be in your Word daily. And don't just read it when I read it on here either, Me and others that speak the truth, that's another thing, are gaining more followers. And I'm glad to have fellowship with them. Because you know what? They're starving for the Word of God. People are. Like I said, people are sick of going to churches, hearing a motivational speech that doesn't get them anywhere, only makes them feel good, and that only works temporarily. It rubs off, wears off after a while. Actually, not even after a while. Maybe after a day or so, if even that, because they see it doesn't get them anywhere. When you are fed the truth from the Word of God, it will get you places if you go through with it. Y'all have a great and blessed day. I love yous.